On the campaign trail, President Donald Trump often said the fight against ISIL was going badly. But now that he's been in office for just over 2 months, his Secretary of State describes the fight as going really well, predicting the coalition will soon move from a military fight to an effort at stabilization. Secretary Rex Tillerson promised more action from the U.S., but didn't have any concrete changes to present to the 68 members of the anti-ISIL coalition as they met in Washington Wednesday.
While a more defined course of action in Syria is still coming together, I can say the United States will increase our pressure on ISIS and al-Qaeda and will work to establish interim zones of stability through ceasefires to allow refugees to go home.
In the past, all of the talk about safe zones meant that there would be forces on the ground protecting those people in those areas, giving cover from the sky. The secretary didn't seem to imply that that's what they were looking at. He talked about establishing them through ceasefire. So is that actively going to happen? We asked the Pentagon and they said they hadn't received guidance to establish those just yet. There are indications the U.S. is taking a more aggressive role. The military says it airdropped Syrian and Kurdish forces into ISIL territory to try and recapture the Tapka Dam, using artillery fired from recently deployed U.S. Marines to help in the effort. This could be the first indication they are close to trying to take back the strategic city of Raqqa. Back in Washington, the main message from the U.S., it needs more help. I asked the Secretary General of NATO about the request. Did the Trump administration directly ask you to scale up?
We discussed the potential for scaling up in different meetings, meetings with Secretary Mattis, with Secretary Tillerson, and also in the big meeting today here in Washington. But we haven't made any concrete decisions. These are issues we will discuss in NATO.
There was a clear sense of optimism in the speeches, a sense that the coalition is gaining ground, that they have the momentum. Still, they said they realize winning the battle is one thing, keeping the peace after is another. Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.